Hello, my name is Gia. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe now for more self-image, self-care, and self-growth. There's a new video out every Sunday, Wednesday, and Saturday. Happy Sexy Millionaire by Stephen Bartlett was not about money. And the thing I liked about this book was I sort of had an idea who he was. I didn't read the title. I was recommended to this by this business group of females that I'm in. I got the audiobook version because it was narrated by the author and you can hear their tone, how it's supposed to sound, as opposed to a voice actor's interpretation. So how it's originally written is how you will hear it. And it's on their account and it's a primary account. So you'll hear it straight from the horse's mouth. So for those of you who don't know Stephen Bartlett, he is a big time businessman and he was already raking in millions by the time he was 25. And I mean, his company sold for 200 million or it was worth 200 million by the time that he was 25, and he had everything. And he's talking about, it didn't affect me, nothing in my life changed. I was happier when I was rooting around for change at like some Pizza Hut with in between the cushions, in between the chairs, looking for change and money to eat. And he found like $13 13 pounds. And he was the happiest in his life because he could eat for a few days respectively. So he is a British businessman. He's the co-founder of Social Chain and an investor on BBC's Dragon's Den. So for my American friends, Dragon's Den is like Shark Tank. So he's one of the investors like Kevin Murphy, or Barbara something, I forgot her name. So he's one of those investors, and I'm looking at his Instagram, entrepreneur, co-founder of Third Web and Flight Story founder Social Chain, a $700 million marketing business. So he's a genius. And let's just go over this and tap into this because he was born in Botswana to Botswanian mother and a very calm, like chill Englishman. And they grew up quite poor. So the thing was, they didn't grow up poor. They grew up just like lower middle class is what it sounded like. I love his quotes about, in the very beginning, I thought he was going to go into like all these anecdotal things about like his, like every single detail of what happened that he mentions in the beginning of the book. So he says like his mother showed up in a bra to pick him up at school, and she was Botswanian, and like just this like wild African mother woman is how he described her. And I've been to Botswana, and I love Botswana. I love the Okavango Delta. I love the food. And so I could totally like picture this woman, and the people I met in Botswana were mild-tempered, but when the way he describes her, it's like I cannot pin her down. She is a wild woman who chased her dad around the house, and she would be screaming and screaming for hours, and he would just be sitting, like her dad would just be sitting there chill. So she was like the source of stress in the house, and she even beat him, spanked him in front of his crush, like this girl that he really liked in his class, and she also made Stephen Bartlett's sister. She stole I think some cosmetics or something from the store, and she made her hold a sign saying "I steal from stores," something like that. And she sounds like a very expressive woman who just had a very powerful personality, and she reminds me a lot of my stepmom, actually. Yeah, very problematic. So he talks about what it means to be happy, and he's talking about, so he kind of really waters down what he's talking about, I think, in my situation, from my understanding, because he is obviously a very brilliant man, and I think he's just giving very short bits of knowledge that like he thinks is like more important. He doesn't have like a crazy vocabulary that he like tries to elucidate things in a very technical manner. He's just telling you like it is casually because that's who he is. He's from England, and he has like, I think I want to say like a southern English accent, like very like London, or like a suburb of London. So he was just a very regular person, and he grew up poor, obviously struggling, and then he founded his company that and he was very poor at like struggling, and understood what it means to have those challenges in your life where you have to grind from the bottom. And then he doesn't go into detail of exactly what he did to like start and open his business. He just talks about he knows all these different feelings. He doesn't like explain anything of like, I did this and this to start my business. This is what you need to do to start business. No, he he shows you, he gives you a touch of how to handle the business. But so there was a giant hack in his company, and I'm talking about a person hacked into their email system and was sending emails to all of their clients and was saying horribly obscene things. And he knows, so like, he's super chill. And one day he received a call from someone who never calls, and it's one of his business partners and one of his someone who works in his business with him. And he is a very polite person, and he knows his personality. Obviously, he works with him, and he saw this email of like saying really obscene things to their client, and cursing, and it's just really inappropriate. And they've been hacked, and he's asking, did your assistant send this? Did you send this? He's like, no, I swear on my life. And he trusted him. And then they found out a few more to all of their clients. And these hacks were very specific. The messaging was, it looks like they read the chains before in the email, and and sent horrible email messages to their clients based on what they had said in their previous conversation. So it sounded like someone was really it sounded like, to the clients, it sounded like it was someone from their company actually saying this, because they knew what they were saying, that they referenced before. Who else would know this? If it was a hacker, it would just be like, F you, do this and that. If it was just like some stranger hacker who didn't know what they were doing, they would probably send some horrible things. But this ended up canceling a lot of their campaigns, and they lost 80% of their clients, because not just because they were hacked, but because their security database wasn't very strong, that they could be handled. That means their sensitive information from their company could be shared or could be stolen, because they're not on top of it. And he blames himself, saying he could have prevented this, but he didn't know that this would ever happen, so it's not something that he thought of. But the way he handled it, but the 20% of his clients did stay, because they understand, and they tracked this phone from an Android sending all these emails, and they found proof on their servers and sent it to their clients. But only 20% of them stayed, because they understood what was going on, but the rest of them didn't want their sensitive information stolen as a company working with them. And so he, as a learning lesson, went out of his way to make his servers more secure from now on. So he talks about how he handled these issues. He talks about how he handled this issue, and it's not just a matter of the message that you say, it's also the delivery. So when he found this out, he called all the people in his company, all his partners and all the people working there, and announced what was happening, and said very, very calmly, like, this is what happened, and this is what we're going to do to handle it. And he said, if you're calm, it shows, like, he says he called everybody, and everybody knows that he doesn't usually call, so they know it's important, but he was very calm about it. So everybody else felt his sense of calm and knew, we can handle this, we can take this on and not have to worry, as long as we take action. And but they knew it was serious, because he was calling, and that it was a huge problem. It was a serious problem that they could eventually, they pretty much lost a lot of their money. And how can you pay these people? And he he went out of his way to supplement the payroll. And so he talks about being a leader and what it means to work hard and to earn. And so, which I love, because like, when you have immigrant parents, I had immigrant parents, and I've been an immigrant myself 4 times, so like 4 different countries, 4 different continents even, and like, you have to start from the bottom, you have to grind, you have to learn a new language, and you have to learn a new culture, which is a whole other thing that we don't have to consider, considering the US is so huge. I live in Los Angeles, and just in Los Angeles alone, there are pockets of like Russian communities and all this, and it's just different, and you have to like live by their rules. And so I understand what it means to be an immigrant, and so does he. And so he talks about happiness and what it actually means to be happy. I know a lot of people replace the word happy with fulfilled. Like, does your job make you happy? Does this make you happy? It's like, my job doesn't make me happy. I feel passionate about my job. Yes, in some ways it does make me happy, but my business, like, I feel fulfilled. Like, I have a purpose, I have a drive, a motivation. There's so much more emotions where people can only identify like a few feelings, like happy, mad, and sad. It's like they say an average of 3 is what people usually list out at the top of their head. Where me, I'm like immediately think of 15 different emotions. But I don't think like everybody, and neither does he. Like, just like this book, I think it's like an entrepreneur thing. So he says happiness is realizing what is, or he says unhappiness, being not happy is. He says being unhappy is realizing what is missing. So don't think about the stuff that you don't have, and think about what you're grateful for. Think about what you do have and why it helps you. And there was during the lockdown, there was a lot of people who were giving their clothes out and selling their clothes as opposed to buying more clothes, and they realized what they had was enough. And a lot of people there have been studies that when you write down what you're happy about, like a gratitude journal, like in Buddhism, they say desire, having want, is the illness, like is what poisons your mind from thinking, I will never be happy. It's not about it's called what he calls a destination mindset. Like, okay, if I reach $1 million, then I'm going to be happy. If I have a kid like my parents want me to, then I'm going to be happy. If I get married by 30, then I'm going to be happy. But sometimes life doesn't pan out. Like, life just doesn't work like that. And so he talks about how just enjoy where you are now, appreciate everything you have now. It's so powerful, like the way he words it. That's why I think you should definitely get the book, linked below. And he says how to feed a problem is to think about it, and how to starve a problem is by taking action. So this is actually something that I say all the time in a different version of this. So you can be the smartest person in the world, and that means like you have all the information, all the education that you need, but you don't do anything with it. That means you're not the smartest person in the world. Like they say, knowledge is power. But to me, action is power. If you have that knowledge and then you do something with it, then you have the power to be creative and help others, or whatever it is you want to do in your purpose. So he also talks about consistency, which I think is very, very, very important. This is something people miss out on. And I noticed this my whole like career. I'm always wondering, like, I will see like some blogger who started out, one of my businesses is I have a social media agency for bloggers and influencers, and I will see this is just aside from my business, this is just my personal anecdote, that when I see a random blogger or an actor and like just like this media personality, let's say, I'll see them having started out, and they started out like a little wonky, a little weird. I don't fully trust them, or I don't know if they're going to stick around for the long run, because I see them once and it's like, yeah, you're good looking, you have this prospects, but I don't know if you have that staying power. But the thing is, they continue to better themselves. They continue to put themselves out there. And then like a few years down the line, I'm like, whoa, they're in this huge movie, and I didn't even know that they were doing this. Like, a lot of famous people, you'll find them in old movies. Like Bradley Cooper's a huge star, and then you'll see Sex and the City where he's in there for like 2 minutes and he's grinding. That was like how many years ago? That's like over 20 years ago that he's been doing this. So consistency is such a key factor to success, no matter what you're doing. So consistency makes a huge difference, where intensity makes a good story. So you can be like, I know this guy who was in business. Well, he wasn't in business because he would stick to something for not even 3 months and see how it would go. He would do something for 2 weeks and talk it up and be all passionate and have this fire behind the way he talks about things, and then he'll fail and move on to the next thing, move on to the next thing, move on to the next thing. He was never successful, and me and my friends just always make fun of him because he was just in over his head, when the truth is consistency. Like, nobody goes to the gym and loses 10 pounds overnight. They go to the gym like a few minutes a day. A few minutes can be 60 minutes, a few minutes can be 45 minutes, 20 minutes. Go every day and you will lose a little bit of this, you'll lose a little bit of that, you'll feel good, you'll see yourself in the mirror. And when you're in it, you don't notice a huge difference. There are incremental differences that happen, is what he mentions, and how But if you appreciate what you're doing now, you will appreciate it later when you do have it even more, because you're like, wow, I got this far. Like on my YouTube channel, I have 377 subscribers, and I am so grateful for them. And like every time I look at that number, I smile, because I remember I had 2 subscribers. Like one was my husband, and one was like someone with no picture in their account. And so I was like wondering, is this ever gonna happen? And I'm already past 100 subscribers, which is like my goal a long time ago now, or not that long ago. And so if you just stay consistent and like keep showing up, you're doing half the work. So small things daily add up to success, and enjoy the process. And he says he mentioned how his assistant had this huge thing where she wanted to gain weight. She would go to the gym, and he knew that she felt so passionate about, like, she wanted this to change in her life, because she would say it every single day when she would come in. And he said, I'll pay for your personal trainer. Just do it. Cause like, I'm tired of hearing you say this and you're not actually doing anything about it. You're just mouthing off. And he says how, almost 90% of people never achieve their goals. I can totally see that. I am a goal getter. I am constantly achieving my goals. And the thing is, someone told me, so last year I had like an Excel sheet full of goals, and I accomplished like 20 of them within the first month, because I sat down for 16 hours each day for the whole month of January. And by February, I had a lot of those goals done. There was only like a couple left. And someone recently told me, someone who was like a really like a flatliner, so I call someone who doesn't like do anything in their life to change their situation. They exist. So he's like a real complainer and blames the system kind of thing, instead of doing something for himself. He said, maybe your goals weren't hard enough. And I was like, 700,000 views on a blog post in less than 2 weeks is insane. And I didn't officially like launch my blog yet. And so I was like, this was hard work. This was research. This was understanding my audience. This was analytics that I applied into my content. Don't tell me that my goals are too easy. My goals are near darn impossible sometimes. And I find a way to reverse engineer them. So everything is possible as long as you put your mind to it. If you're a man who wants to be a woman, that's possible. You know? So like when people tell me your goals are too easy, it's like, get out into the sun and enjoy some vitamin D, then come back in, and then maybe we'll think properly again and process, because you're not using your full potential at this point. That's not healthy. So greatness isn't one decision. It's good repeated over and over. It's good repeated over and over again. Not one act is how he got to success, but 1 million, not one large act is how he got his success, but 1 million small acts over 10 years. So he talks about how his assistant, he would pay for her personal trainer, and she didn't. She's like, no, I'm not going to do that. And so he got her a membership, and he literally 3 days in a row, he dragged her. She would go with him, and but like she moaned and screamed and like pulled and didn't want to do it, but he did it for those 3 days. But then he had like some trip that he had to go, and he called her. He's like, you got to go to the gym. And obviously she didn't for like the next couple days. And so it didn't work for her. She just couldn't, like, some people just don't want to change their lives. They say they do, they want to, but they won't put the work in. Nobody wants to put the work in. So, I think this book is a really fantastic motivation if you have a business, or if you just want to do anything in your life. So like, say you want to start eating better, instead of eating like a processed food, just like replace a small thing that you eat, like one of your sides, to be less fattening, or just healthier. It doesn't have, like, I don't care if it's fattening, because I eat like butter all the time. And but like if it's like with vegetables, like with broccoli and butter, it's like so good. So instead of eating something processed, you can replace it with something healthier and more whole. So like a whole food, instead of something that's been like put through an assembly line essentially, and in a packaged. So if you want to do anything small in your life, I had this goal last year of doing my hair, doing my makeup, and just like being fresh in the morning when I wake up automatically, so I have the least time that I need to get ready. I can focus on the things I need to do and get as much done as possible. I thought, how am I going to do this? I would not stick to it. Like, I would wash my face, but I just had no energy or no time to put my makeup on. and I just forced myself. I put my drive, I put my heart. I got the makeup of my exact tone. I did a lot of research on color theory. I did everything I could to make myself look better when it came to my makeup, and like learned all the techniques that look good for my face. And it made things a lot easier when I understood. And he talks about how people who make rational decisions usually there have been studies that people who have actually done their research before making a decision are like the healthiest. I forgot what he says, I'm so sorry, but are like, they're the ones who actually make the rational decisions. Where if you're on a whim and you haven't done your research, they actually make the most irrational decisions. So I think it's really important to take action, is what he says. Also, I think I very much align with him when I say this. Take action in your goals. So I wanted to do my makeup, and I did all this research to do it right. And so I thought, if I'm not going to stick to this, what I'm going to do is find a different shortcut. And like your outcome, your result, your solution may not always look exactly how you pictured it. Like what I ended up doing was getting permanent makeup done. And so I never have to wake up, and I put tinted lip balm on, and that's it. And some earrings, and I look like I'm kind of ready for the day. I don't like, I just wash my face, and I feel fresh, I look fresh, but I don't have to do like all this work. But I did get used to doing my makeup, and I can do it really fast now and really well. But when you find like the key to your success are these shortcuts or these things that you have to do every day that you can try. Like if I want to go really glam, I will do a really glam face, but I have permanent eyelashes, or permanent eyebrows and permanent eyeliner, so I never have to worry about it. So if your solutions, if you can find a way, you will do them if you take action. So I know this doesn't seem like a big deal, but appearance says 90% of the things you don't say. So they say what you communicate is by how you appear, how you look, how your face reacts, how you show that you care by like dressing up appropriately, by doing your hair, by that you prioritize this, by looking good, by smelling good, by showing up and showing that you care. So that communicates a lot in itself. And I think your self-image says a lot to other people how to treat you. And like if I showed up with a wrinkly shirt to this, you'd be like, what, why? I'm just here in my room sharing a video with you, in my office sharing a video with you guys, and I wanted to present myself as quickly, as easy as possible every time I have an idea. And what I did was, sometimes I'm in my pajamas and I have like a whim, and it's early in the morning and I haven't even worked out or showered yet. That's why the lighting is all weird, because it's gray, but and it's really early. So and what I did was I got cute pajamas. I got a bunch of cute pajamas so that you guys don't see me in like a ratty old t-shirt. I got rid of those ratty old t-shirts, and I use them as rags now. So if you find a solution to whatever it is your goal is, there is a will, there is a way. So you can do it. This book is fabulous. You should get it down in the link below. It will motivate you to do all the things you want to do. And just it's a good book that I will go back and read, because he has so much valuable information on how to stay on top of things, how to stay motivated. Just like if you're looking for the best version of yourself, this is the book when it comes to like, I felt so inspired again, and I was like, what are some ways I can make money today, or what are some ways I can grow my money today, or grow my finances, so that I can be this level of the best version of myself all the time. And people see that, and I don't even have to pass business cards out. Like people just see like the back of my head, and they're like, oh hey Gia, or I walk by and they smell my perfume and they're like, oh hey Gia. So this is a powerful branding strategy, is by getting. So let me know what you think. Leave a comment, share this with someone that you know who you probably think needs this or is wondering about this book. Subscribe now for a new video every single Sunday, Wednesday, and Saturday. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.